I think I'm the only one there, which is fine. Chris, are you there?
You see people?
Just one.
Hold on, Chris.
24.
Okay, now we're good, Chris.
Okay, minutes of 3/13/24. I think Daley, you had a couple of comments on the minutes.
Yes, and I just forwarded them to Greg, but basically, I didn't want to violate, and Craig was absolutely right. I didn't want to violate any FOIA thing by having communication that is
Yeah.
not here in the meeting. But I was concerned that the minutes reflected that we had a consensus. And I think that that was ambitious, and I would like that part not to be included in the minutes if that is agreeable to the group.
And that was,
Number 5 on the minutes. Just
oh,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah. Okay,
discussion. It reads currently discussion of the 3 proposed locations at the town farm for the solar array location took place, with the consensus being that the chip pile was the best location. So
Yeah.
I did not
And I-
review the video. That was just my recollection of the conversation, but I can amend it to whatever if that's what the choice.
I think that it's probably my fault for not making that point clear, but that reference goes back to the original when Henry was Henry and we met over at the town farm and looked at it. So I apologize for not making that clear for this past meeting. But there were definitely 3 areas identified where they wanted the original proposal back, like I say, back in November when Henry was involved and they were the field directly behind the pool, the floodplain down by the river, and then third was where the old house are in that grove on the side hill. And I think we didn't really come to a consensus at that meeting on site. And I'm sorry, Daley, that I did, like I said, I didn't make it clear. But
It's not an issue, but if we just leave out the phrase about a consensus
okay,
was.
sure.
So how about you can, if you approve these, I'll stop the sentence at a discussion discussion of the 3 proposed locations at the town farm or solar array location took place, period.
Emily?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would make a motion that be taken out of the minutes and amended. What you had said, Greg,
So seconded.
Right.
Okay.
So there's a motion to amend. I will second the emotion. The emotion, excuse me.
Okay, and Greg, could you read how you want to amend it again?
I will. I was taking notes for my next set of minutes. Discussion of the 3 proposed locations at the town farm for the solar array location took place. Period.
Sounds good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And I have to abstain.
Okay, thanks, Amy. Okay, any other comments on the minutes from 3:13? If none, okay, we've got a couple of Daley, you had added some more information on Greenleaf and Eversource proposal, or maybe clarified your original one. Can we hear about that?
Sure. And by the way, I only have so many screens, so I don't have the agenda in front of me. I just have our Zoom, and on another screen, I have my report. So did everybody get the report that I sent to Chris earlier today? It just shows a new spreadsheet. Good. Okay, so basically I sent our questions from the last meeting to Kevin Siebrecht, who is the vice president of Greenleaf, and he gave me some new updated information for our committee. One is that the price that Eversource will pay for our kilowatt hours is now 20.9 cents rather than 20.1 cents. So we have more revenue that is approved for 20, not 25 years. Second, there's the $163,000 grant is available the first year, not the second year. And so the third change is not a change. I did not modify the insurance or the maintenance, because though he said that he wasn't sure that those were good figures, he had no other figures to offer us at this time. I left them in. We can change them anytime you want. So on the spreadsheet that uses these new figures that hopefully you all have, it comes out that there is a cumulative net income after 25 years of 206,603 dollars. And I also comment that this might be moot because the rec commission has already said that they are not supporting the location, the one location, not all of the other locations that were mentioned, but the one specific one that this proposal addressed. And but I would just like to comment, and I did in the email, that it gives us an apples to apples basis for going forward, whatever our location or proposal is. If it doesn't include all of the factors, we can add a factor to it. Okay, that's all.
Okay, thanks, Daley. Greg asked me to get a quote from Cerma for the insurance, and I failed to do that. But I will reach out to them. I was going to try and call today while I was at the town hall, and I didn't have the number of panels and confused, so I just I let it go. But I will get that. And there was the other question was maintenance, and I'm not sure how to quantify a cost for that. I guess we would have to talk to somebody that that actually installs them or operates them to give us some kind of a maybe Peter, I don't know if you had maybe any luck with any of the discussions that you've had with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Maintenance costs zero if you don't pay for the system and you're leasing it.
Right, but this would have been one that we purchased. So all I
Right.
am suggesting is that going forward,
Which I can't quantify at all.
no, of course. So all I'm suggesting is that going forward, we leave that column. And so all of the various things that we're trying to compare and evaluate, we get specific, maintenance and insurance numbers.
Yep, it's true. Amy, you had a question?
Just a note, one thing that, this plan needed to just emphasize is that you don't actually get the 163,000. It's taken as a credit. You don't actually get the cash.
Well, actually, Amy, I'm glad you're saying that because that is not what Kevin wrote to me. So I can go back and ask him again if you would like.
Yeah,
don't
it
catch
was,
up
it was
down.
a question that we had asked, so I'd be grateful for, a better clarification. That's just what I had understood.
Amy, I would ask, are you possibly referring to the 30% IRA cash payment, perhaps from the feds? Okay.
No, it was the grant, but I could be wrong. It's fine.
Because the reason I thought maybe that is I actually went back and looked up the IRA part. Now I forget what that even stands for, but in essence, it's the,
Inflation Reduction Act.
yes, thank you, Peter. Yes. So I went over that again to read about the municipalities, and since we don't pay taxes, it's a cash payment back to
So
for
isn't the
installation
163, isn't the 163 the IRA? The Inflation Reduction Act grant?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're talking about the same thing. So you're confirming that that is not a credit, it is an actual cash payment?
That's the way that I read it today,
Okay.
when I
And-
went on the website. for
Okay, then I'm incorrect. So forget all of that. Just keep on going.
Interestingly, oh, I'm sorry, Chris, would it be a good time to go over the attachments that Melissa had cited around for everybody?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
On that solar energy system letter of intent, which is, again, I think that's kind of moot as well because a year has passed, the 12 months. But although I see we don't have a signed copy from both parties, so I'm not sure what's up with that or if it exists. But number two, funding. So I had a question in conjunction with the internal ESFS, which is the, I don't even know what that is, Eversource something. Customer and Greenleaf shall work to determine appropriate funding for the project as a purchase, lease, power purchase agreement, or C-PACE financing. GES will provide documentation and analysis for funding options and help facilitate any third-party negotiations. So I would read that line as we should have received what a lease would look like and C-PACE financing. So we went to the former Salisbury Bank, I believe, who the interest rate was asked about, but it looks like there's other options that we didn't get the information for. So that'd be interesting to have that, I think.
Okay.
If we, and of course, with the caveat that we even want to move forward on this particular proposal. So.
Yeah, right. Anybody else have anything to add to in regards to the Greenleaf or Eversource proposal?
Yeah, I would like to say something here.
Yeah, Peter?
Yeah, we have no expertise even to really to determine whether this is a good proposal or a bad proposal. We have no expertise as to what the maintenance, which is a large stream of money. We have no expertise whether the PPA, that's a tariff rate, the power purchase agreement is a correct amount. I mean, we have no expertise in this whatsoever. Okay. So it seems to me, and just on my experience, which I guess I will be speaking here a little later on what I've learned, but it seems to me that we probably would want to rely upon certain expertise that is available to us to answer all these questions and get an appropriate proposal in place. But we just, as far as I can see, we don't have any of that expertise.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And I think that's why it's important for us to, beat this one as hard as we can, and then look at some of the findings that you, Killingly and Sharon Initiatives, Titan Energy, the Green Bank, and see what else is out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that, well, see, that's the thing, we can, you say beat this one. I have no way of, determining whether this is a good proposal or not. Just don't have any, expertise to say so.
I think at the time it was the only proposal.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so I want to follow up on Peter's point, and I have to agree with him that it's we have limited experience among us, but some have more than others. We're obviously curious and interested in exploring this and giving some decent guidance and suggestions to others in our community. But I really am wondering if we would be better served by contracting with a nonprofit consultancy that has expertise in this area, can evaluate the pros and cons for our town, give us assignments, delegate us research if it'll reduce the cost of the consultancy to answer these questions from the town of Sharon and come back and give us this information. And, they may actually have a lot of this information at their fingertips because that's what they do all the time. I'm just thinking that, as well-intentioned as we are and as thorough as we wish to be, I'm just at a loss, and I think we could be risking leaving a stone unturned because we don't know all the stones to turn over and look at. So I'm just thinking that we might benefit from our committee might benefit from having expertise available, as Peter's introduced.
sure, I agree.
Yeah, and let me also make a real important point here too, is that I think we're a small town. We're a financially a very healthy town, which is great. But we have lots of priorities, I think, as well. And one of the big issues that this committee is tasked with is going back to kind of meld in this project with the Board of Finance's priorities as well for spending money. And there are ways of doing this, and it sure seems to me that almost every municipality in the state of Connecticut have done it differently, as far as I can see. They've all done, at least from the information I received, around 70% of municipalities in the state of Connecticut has done something in solar. Okay, that seems high, but I've asked that several times and I got that same type of answer. Furthermore, I asked then how many of them actually are doing a lease option or a third-party lease, no upfront cost project versus actually buying the installation like this proposal, which is on the table. And the answer I got was that none of them are doing, all of them are doing the third-party lease. None of them are buying outright. And one of the big issues around that is this big question of maintenance. Don't know what the maintenance is. I mean, that's going to be a really tough one. Yeah. If we own the equipment. So that's where, if we don't own the equipment, and all we're doing is we're buying power behind the meter is a term that's been kicked about. That keeps our hands very clean. We don't have a lot of outlay. and we get income. So, I mean, that's kind of what I've seen in the two, what I've found in the, 2 weeks that I was looking at this.
Greg?
Peter, I have a question on something you just kind of ended
Yes.
with, that you said, but we would have income. How do you see that we would get income?
Because what happens is we don't own the array. We actually look to purchase power. Okay, but we also would be able to net meter power when we don't have a large draw buying power, and this is an interesting point at Sharon. So Sharon is, if we're going to skip around different subjects here, I might as well go right to that point. Sharon is maybe, as you know, it took them a while to get their project up. They've been kicking it around for a couple years, but they're finally ready to start now. They're leasing. They were initially going to do it on their rooftop of the elementary school, and just the elementary school alone. Okay, which I guess they've determined was probably the largest draw of power, electricity for the town itself. But they've decided to put it onto, let's say, a ground mount on town property next to the elementary school there in Sharon. That's in my report. You can read why that's the case. Anyway, what Casey Flanagan, the first selectman there, told me, who's kind of running the project, but he's late to the game, so he doesn't have all the origins of it. He said that one of the big issues about an elementary school installation is that its peak generation of power is during the summer, when there is not a lot of electricity requirement at the elementary school. So what do you do with all that power that's being generated that you are not really looking to buy? Well, you can net meter. And the net metering, that's where this, we, as a private organization, as a public organization, this is where we actually still are able to gain net meter income through the IRA, the Infrastructure Reduction Act, where it is a grant that comes back to the town. So it's not like it turns back our meters if we generate more electricity than we use, but rather it'll be then a credit and then a grant back to us. Maybe that's where all this grant issues got all confused and such. So that's an income stream there in the summer. So we reduce costs, and we then have an income stream on a third party lease scenario. Hopefully that answered your question. Maybe it did.
It did.
Sorry if I was confused, if it was confused.
No, and that is the kind of the tough part is as I read through these different proposals, even Killingly, and I did read Sharon pretty closely as well. But it's, I see the lease of it as being that party's really making the money. The leasers, they do it to make money, correct? But then it takes, it makes sense, and I can understand why most municipalities would do it. As a private company, if I was to look at it through my private company, I would say I want to keep the money, right? I don't want to pay somebody else to be able to get my, the benefit from my real estate use. But as a municipality, it seems that, if that many towns have done it that way, maybe
I think they've done it that way, Greg.
Take the benefits that you speak of.
Yeah, I think they've done it that way because it's the outlay of cash. It's a cost of borrowing. As Daley pointed out, in that initial proposal, there wasn't even a cost of money in that. And, and then she started to add that in, and all of a sudden the numbers get very, very tight. Right. So the cost of money, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe it made sense to buy it outright. Cost of money today, it's much higher. So it might not make that much sense. And then the issue of, if we own it, we have to maintain it. And this is not a question of, just brushing some dirt off of a panel and maintenance, okay? Going out there with a squeegee and cleaning off the panel, okay? No, I mean, this is when the inverters go bad. There will be an agreement that in the PPA, the power purchase agreement, that's the tariff that is negotiated of what we will buy power from behind the meter. There will be a part of that agreement which will say the array has to deliver us X amount of power. It has to. And if inverters go down, I mean, someone has to come out and fix them or replace them. And I guess they do go down from time to time. So we don't have that expertise to do that. We'd have to contract someone out to do it, even if we did own it.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've gotten a little bit out of, we're doing a pretty good job discussing your findings, Peter, and I'd like to continue with this. So our agenda has gotten a little bit out of order, but that's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We'll go back to item 4 when we're done.
Okay.
How does Killingly's, can you explain how Killingly's is different than Sharon?
Well,
Or-
Killingly is a townwide. Sharon is just a elementary school focus project. Now, Sharon may go wider than that, but their project calls for doing something for the elementary school. Now, Killingly has done it townwide, though. I think I mentioned it in some missive out that the vast majority of the power that is being generated by the Killingly solar plant, if we want to call it that, is actually on their elementary school. I was never able to get the amount that was on the amount that was being generated there. I did get another number that might be helpful as well. This is a number, you just write it down on a piece of paper. It takes anywhere from 5 to 7 acres to get a megawatt of power. Now, how much does a megawatt go? I think I've heard that a megawatt can go to 500 homes, and power 500 homes. So, and then the other thing too is that there's also another option where maybe there is a private owner of property that wants to partner with the town itself, bring it together, and then, have kind of a joint private municipal project. And again, all of these topics, all of these ideas, every point that, we're making here, it goes beyond me. Okay. I don't have any expertise in any of this. That's why, I think the vast majority of towns have used these specially assembled consultants, either through the legislature, which is Connecticut Green Bank, or they through the was it CCM, which we are a member of,
Right.
which we have rights to draw on any of their resources. So through those two options there, we have consultants who are expertise in this. The one under the Green Bank is Green Bank itself, okay, and the other one under CCM, one of them is Titan Energy, which I outlined in my report back to everybody.
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing too, which I think is rather interesting, because I was very naive when I started investigating this. I also reached out to the installer at Killingly, not knowing how any of this came together, not knowing there were consultants in the middle, not knowing that there was third-party stuff, third-party lease agreements. So I reached out to Green Sky, who was the installer at Killingly, and they got back to me eventually. And boy, they pushed really hard as an installer, as a private company out to make money. They pushed really hard to we'll send our people out there. We'll let our people out there. Now, why don't you give our people the opportunity to come out there and look at this thing for you? You don't need to look at these consultants. We can do this ourselves. we can help you ourselves. So, I mean, I'm all for private enterprise. But I think we do, as we need to have municipal due diligence as stewards of public money. And then also, we just don't have the expertise. So, whatever Green Sky tells us, whatever Greenleaf has told us, I have no idea if any of it's credible or valuable or, worthwhile considering.
Right. I think CCM is a good launching point.
It could be, or, Greenbank is a good one too, because I mean, this is set up by the legislature to do, this exact work to provide guidance to those looking to install solar, solar power, solar generation of electricity. And they have Greenbank does consulting for private enterprises or for residential. They do it for private individuals. They do it for private commercial, and they also have a branch and that's who I spoke with, who heads their municipal consulting group. So,
Amy?
Yeah, thanks. I would like to make a motion that we, just to get it out on the table for discussion and vote, if it gets that far, that we ask Titan and we ask Connecticut Green Bank, how much would it cost to give us the appropriate guidance so that we know what direction we want an RFP, a request for proposals, on. And, and maybe we'll learn that there are other firms like this as well to get a quote from. The Titan proposal doesn't have a cost on it, so I don't know how much that is. And I'm not quite sure, although Peter did have a more extensive conversation, but from the documentation, I just don't know if the Connecticut Green Bank simply connects you to contractors or if they actually do an RFP for you so that you get bids.
yeah,
So I'd like to make a motion that we get a quote from the two sources we know that provide some kind of guidance to us, if that is the way the committee would like to go, to get some more expertise to help us. Otherwise,
Can I just say something on that point? And I think, we're headed in the right direction, but to clarify something, my understanding is their services cost us nothing.
Okay, so we just want to confirm that. And we want to also confirm that they're not simply connecting us with contractors, but they're actually providing us with the guidance so that we have an RFP to move forward with.
Right. And I
So-
think I outlined that by saying that they provide us with, let's say, site, let's say, they provide us with, I don't know how I use the terms there, but certainly proposal management, as well as, before that, they help us build out the proposal. They help us determine what our needs are, where it might go, build out the proposal, manage the RFP, and then manage the kind of the end, I guess, the project management of
Well,
the
I know Titan does that, but
Yeah.
I don't see that Green Bank does that, and I could be wrong. I'm
Mhm.
just throwing the motion
Okay.
out there,
And,
because my fear is that without that expertise, this committee could, in all good, well-intentioned efforts, come up with a proposal that we put before the powers that be, and we didn't think of something because we didn't know to think of it from another angle. And, just
Sure.
the motion's out.
I agree with you, Amy, and maybe would it be worth prior to a motion, maybe we can get someone from CCM to come and visit, maybe to our next meeting.
Yeah, both
or
of
the
them,
next-
both of them offered that.
Yeah,
So Titan
uh,
offered coming to meet the committee, and they suggested that they would be able to, and I agreed fully. They would be able to convey what they provide way better than I could.
Yeah,
Okay. And similarly with Green Bank.
So the motion's on the table.
I would
Okay.
second that.
Okay, do we,
Any
can
other
you,
discussion?
yeah, can you word that motion?
Yeah, the motion is to invite Titan and Connecticut Green Bank to provide us with consultancy, guidance consultancy services proposals with costs, and to give us both a hard copy and be willing to come and present to us.
Okay. Sure,
Uh,
we're open for
I'm-
discussion now, any?
Well, I'm
anybody else?
trying really hard. I am really maybe the least qualified person maybe ever to do notes.
I'll send it to you, okay, Greg?
I have most of it, but if you could send it, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay, well, can we have some discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
please.
absolutely.
Okay, so one of the things, we have chosen these two, and I think, the proposal is or the motion is simply that these could be two of others, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, two
These
or
are not-
other, yeah, these two or others, yeah.
And that these would have no cost. These are simply their presentations of their services. Amy, that's your proposal, that's your
Yeah, they
motion?
should not charge us for making a proposal, no. I'm only asking to seek proposals from Titan, Connecticut Green Bank, and any others for their services to guide this group in examining the options, the best options for providing solar for this town through the, through the whole process.
Understood. All right, that's my question. I pass now.
Emily?
Yeah, I have something else to add to that discussion. In these proposals, would we be providing a new location for, I mean, because we can ask for proposals, correct? But are we going to use the same location, or are we going to?
Well, that's something that,
Let
I
me
did
answer that.
notice, on Peter's, one of Peter's proposals, one of the
Okay,
citing, concerns was being close to three-phase power. And I
Okay.
know
Yeah.
that over at the dump and over,
Yeah.
or at the town farm, there's no three-phase power over there. So I'm
Okay.
Yeah,
not
well,
sure.
options, when you say proposals for options, they're going to examine all the options and they're gonna say, hey, this is a great roof to go on, or this is a site that's really great. And we'll say, well, no, that's gonna cost a lot to remove those chips or whatever. They're gonna look at all options. If
Right,
they're doing their
right.
job correctly, it's going to look at, from things like panels over parking spaces to on top of buildings to independent locations, that just have the panels. That's what we are asking them to do.
Sure.
Right.
And
And
I
here's-
hope that that's what they're prepared to deliver.
Yeah,
Uh,
here's where they'll start with, okay? They'll start with, what is our power requirement, okay? How much do we actually consume of electricity in the in the municipality, okay? I saw that the elementary school, the center school here, Kellogg's, in their new budget, they have for electricity around 20. I didn't see the new budget. It was last year's budget, which I assume is probably a little higher now. Oh no, actually I did see this year's. It was like, I think $21,000 is electricity. That's what their cost is.
Yeah.
What did we find out what the town uses? I mean, what our bill is each month, or times 12, or
Can I just
Yeah,
pop
Melissa, go ahead.
in
Yeah.
here? Okay, so when I was looking at the file folder, one of the things that was provided to the company were electric bills going back a year. So the company then did something with those bills. And I
Right.
didn't think that it was important for me to send outdated bills. Plus, they have account numbers, and to me, there's security issues about sending account information to a whole bunch of different people. Not that I don't trust you all, but I don't think that information is going to be helpful to us. It would be helpful to the company that was then going to determine where to put a solar
Well,
panel.
here's what that will determine. This way, our requirement for electricity will determine the size of the
array.
installation. And at that point, then they can determine where it might want to go,
Mhm.
okay? And it might be broken up across multiple locations and such.
Mhm.
And again, I'll go back to, let's just, one of the best spots to put this, and let me throw this out also as an idea, is, even though, there might not be three-phase right immediately out at the rec area, it might be close enough that it still could be a utilized space there. So don't want to discount it. But one of the best spots there is the landfill, the completed landfill. Now, my understanding, looking at the bulk landfill that we're using to date, it is ready to be closed. And where the next one goes, I don't know. But that would provide us probably, 4 or 5 acres right there that we would need for a megawatt. If that would be a spot to go. On top of landfills are absolutely fine to do engineering wise. So there's another idea.
Great.
Yeah, Peter, I agree that that's a perfect spot, and a lot of places have done that. I believe the problem out at the transfer station is the size of the line, but that's why I think that Amy's motion is a great one. So let's hear that from another company, because we have only heard it from one company.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Understood.
until we
And-
hear from, Titan and the Connecticut Green Bank, or if I have that correct, I think they're separate entities. Let's see what they say, right? And I think we're all on the right path here. Let's get some more information from people who do it every day, and then we can decide maybe if it's a good spot or not. Interestingly, about the landfill, I did read under the IRA that certain brownfields, you can get another 10%. So it's not 30%, it could be upwards of 40% of installation, maintenance, labor, whatever it costs. So that, that might be a very enticing spot to switch it over there, which makes the most sense anyhow.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I put that information in, that close to three-phase power, I don't know what close means either. Okay,
Right.
so is it within a half a mile? Is it within 10 feet? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table and seconded to invite CCM, Titan Energy, and Connecticut Green Bank to come and give us a presentation.
Yeah, I just emailed the motion to everybody too.
Okay. Can we go ahead and vote on that? Are we all? Yeah, all in favor?
I
Aye.
Opposed? Pretty good. You're opposed?
Any opposed?
No, we're all, that's unanimous. Okay. Any other discussion on item 5 on our agenda? None. Okay, let's go back to this is the important one in my opinion. Item 4, discussing the siting on the town farm. And I think because the board of the rec department, the recreation commission, that's their place, and they really, in my opinion, is devoted to recreation. And so I would like to make a motion that or see a motion made that that we take what is there, Emily, 82 acres?
It depends on what you're counting. If you're counting the transfer station, so without the transfer station, you're looking at about 74.
74 without the transfer station.
Yep. It's
So-
still included in the same piece of property, but it has like its own little island, the transfer station. So the rec part is about 74 acres.
Okay, so as we know, the rec department portion of it, the 74 acres would be the open fields, the pool, I guess down to the back side of the chip pile, correct? That field that's up on top.
Yep, that's all included.
I would like to see us take that completely off the table, and leave it strictly for the use of the Recreation Commission. Greg, you have a comment?
Well, I think I'd like to make your motion and then using Ted's letter to Dave Barger. So I'll move that any solar placement on town farm property would be in an identified location outside of the gate up to the rec property between the recreation center driveway and the transfer station driveway.
Is that because that is where they would be willing to consider it?
Correct. That was their
Uh-huh.
recommendation to Selectman Barger.
Yeah, I think that's a great amendment to that resolution, to that motion, only because we need to give any consultant that's helping us all
Here's-
possible options.
Right, okay.
Well, can you describe that again, that area?
I will. Is there a second on this motion?
I'll second that.
Okay,
So it reads, Peter, any placement of the solar panels in any identified location outside the gate, which is the gate as you enter the town farm property up past kind of where the transfer station is,
I never see you with them.
between the recreation center driveway, which is the border of the property anyhow, and the transfer station driveway. So to put it in layman's terms, we could call it right now the chip pile, but I think that we should use Ted's
Yeah, it would be the Route 63 entrance.
route.
Right.
yeah, good point. Yep.
And is it that, and again, I don't know what the rec committee has done here, and what but there are some people here on the rec committee, right? Emily
Yeah.
and I think Melissa both, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, good. So, I mean, are there no
Yes.
spots inside the gate that make sense? Or, I mean, you tell us.
I mean, I can answer that. Melissa, do you want me to answer that?
Yes.
Okay. So the current property that we have has a lot of plans for it. So athletic fields and pavilions, walking trails. So we would say that it's not suitable for solar because it would be obstructing those future plans at this point.
The entire 74 acres?
I will say that there are, I can give you the exact numbers, I can send it in email, but a percentage of those acres are wetlands, so you would not be able to build on that anyways. Obviously you can put solar on that as well. And then some of them have power line easements, so you can't build certain things on that. Yeah, so I wouldn't
So-
say all of the 74 acres, however, I would invite anybody to come up and actually look at the property to take a closer look, and I can show you exactly, where things might be going or give
Right.
you.
I was
Yeah.
there last Saturday, but the gate was closed because the Easter egg thing was canceled because it was raining.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So this Saturday.
Okay, this Saturday. Hopefully it's not raining, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd be more than happy to see that, yeah. Okay, but what you're saying is that for longstanding, the rec committee has plans to use effectively the majority of the 74 acres.
That's correct. And I don't know if you got a chance to look at that letter, but we did go up and meet with the selectmen and walk the property. And that's when this letter was sent by the commission to show exactly where we thought.
Oh. I've not seen any letter. Was it?
It was sent to
Provided?
the group, right, Chris? I think you attached it.
The letter, yeah, the letter from Ted, I included it,
Oh.
I forwarded it, it was part of the,
Okay.
included with the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry then. I should have
Yeah,
looked at
yeah,
that.
it was along with
Now,
the agenda.
isn't there like a long entryway into the rec area behind the gate and then you come to a more open area? It's like a long arm that you drive, kind of winding down through. And then, which I guess borders the transfer station area, and then you come to the opening where there is the parking lot, the swimming pool and such. But that long, I guess, thin area there, is that part of the
Property,
rec
if
area?
you, yeah, if you're going into the pool, or driving into the recreation,
Oh,
the part on the left is owned by the Northwest Rod and Gun Club. The part on the right is, there's a big, like an excavation there where they mined, material out of there. Still pretty raw, raw, wouldn't be suitable, I don't think, for, solar panel placement there. No, it's probably a 20-foot, cut on one side up to the top of the field, and, but then up on the top is there, that between the, road going into the, into the area and the transfer station over where you bring your garbage, there's that field that's up top. And the rec commission has, ideas for that as well. So, yeah, no, you're probably right in your assessment that the entire 74 acres isn't, there are probably parts of the 74 acres that we might be able to squeeze an array on, but you'd end up being 300 yards from the nearest, power pole, so I think,
again, we don't know what close means, right?
well, we don't know what close means. I think, practically speaking, I come from a background of heavy construction. I know, that, that would be a long run of conduit
Okay.
at price to it.
Understood. I'm just a little concerned about this, blocking the rec area completely if there is some areas there that could be utilized. And again, I agree with the fact that, the rec commission has, I'm completely sympathetic with you that you have plans to do something there. But, to make this motion now kind of like limits us in some way, whereas we can keep obviously this idea in mind that there is plans for that land and it's just off limits for the project when we meet with consultants who might suggest where's a good spot.
Point well taken.
But,
I
move,
think the
move the
only-
motion forward and
Yeah,
whatever.
the other, I guess maybe the other bit of logic to this, Peter, is, maybe forcing the committee to look at other areas inside the town.
okay, great. Do we have a lot of land in towns that we own?
There's a lot of little pieces here and there,
Okay.
so.
Any place
There
that maybe
a
is
motion on
like
the
5
table?
acres?
I'm sorry, Peter. Is there a motion on the table?
Yes, I think there is even a second.
Right, well, I guess we're discussing it, huh, in one
Yeah.
sense.
So we're in a discussion now.
And I think
Emily?
the questions you're asking, Peter, may be answered by our consultant when they look at them all.
Yeah, that may be the case, but if we're saying right away, categorically, there's nothing gonna happen in the rec area, that whole piece of land there, then,
But we aren't saying that, are we? Isn't there a section of the land that we are saying is open for consideration in this motion?
That's correct.
Okay,
well, in front of the
Oh, I
gate.
don't- Yeah, it's not really strictly identified though.
I thought that Ted gave us parameters.
Yeah, I think it's quite identified, Chris.
What does the letter say? Do you have it in front of you?
So it's the area outside the gate between the rec center
Okay,
driveway and the
yeah,
transfer station driveway.
Right.
Yeah, and I believe you
And
said
the
that
Route 63 entrance.
Yeah,
The chip pile.
The chip
And
pile.
in essence, the chip pile.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
and that's included, that the motion excludes that piece of property there, that portion of it, right?
No,
I
the
believe the
motion is
motion
that would be the only place. So I think we're looking at it differently.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
my
says the
concern.
rec commission would, however, permit the placement of the solar panels in an identified location outside the gate between the rec center driveway and the transfer station driveway, and that's a very long, narrow stretch.
Yeah, okay.
Who
Uh,
technically owns the transfer station?
The property's owned by the town.
Well, okay, but I mean, is it under the rec?
No,
No,
the
it's
town,
deed-
it's just
right.
town property.
Okay, so the
it's
landfill
deeded
area
separately, I
would not
believe.
be excluded in this type of motion then, huh?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other comments on that?
Call the question.
Can you read that? Can you read the motion one more time?
The motion is that any placement of solar panels on town farm property would be outside of the gate between the recreation center driveway and the transfer station driveway on the Route 63 entrance.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed?
I have to oppose it, not that I'm unsympathetic to the issue, I just don't like the constraint.
Yeah, I understand, Peter. Okay. Any other comments, discussion?
Yeah, Chris, I apologize. Melissa had sent a message to the group and sorry, Melissa, I didn't see it until just now. But it says, can I ask, how did this original plan come to us? We didn't have a consultant to help the town originally, question mark.
didn't it come from, the selectmen were approached about an opportunity?
From Eversource and Greenleaf. So
Right.
Greenleaf in essence was acting as the consultant, so they're all part of it. So they're doing, I think that we're gonna find that Greenleaf is similar to Titan, which is similar to Connecticut Green Bank, but we'll see. I look forward to seeing that.
Greenleaf is an installer,
Yeah, so,
so
but anyway,
Greenleaf is like
the answer
Green
to the
Star.
question, though, is that we were approached by outside people about a grant opportunity. And that's where, how it came to the town.
Yeah, it sort of started with Eversource and grew into Greenleaf.
Right.
Yes, Greenleaf is the installer, but actually I think they hire a subcontractor, but they did everything that I've read that Peter sent along that Titan and Connecticut Green Bank did. That's
Well-
what I believe Greenleaf did.
Yeah,
but-
except that,
the-
they had a stake in the game, whereas Titan and Connecticut Green Bank are giving us the tools to throw the stake out into the world for other people to bid on, whereas Green Bank was the one who wanted the business.
Okay, it's
the,
interesting, Amy, you answered a question because the way I read it, it seemed like they would have a piece of the pie, so I
You
thank you.
know, Titan says that they will, they would issue RFPs for the product to other businesses, to contractors. They'd review the results with, key stakeholders in the town. They negotiate contract terms with the vendor on our behalf with us. And so they're not a contractor from what this proposal states.
Okay.
It's
That's correct.
Yeah.
Green Bank, on the other hand, may in fact be the third party owner.
Okay, maybe that's where I was
Yeah.
led to believe that.
But anyway, that answered Melissa's question, I think.
Are we, regardless who goes, are we eligible for, anything back from Eversource? I mean, Eversource is the true beneficiary of.
That's
of
the,
us
that,
generating.
yeah, it's my understanding that that's the whole point of solar, is to bank credits with Eversource so that you are putting energy towards your own purposes rather than their distributors. And if you produce more, you get a credit or sell it back to the grid. But other people here may actually have solar and know more about that than me. But I have a question. we made a motion to seek these proposals. My question is, who is assigned to follow through on these?
I could reach out to them. I spoke to both.
Okay,
I reached out to Titan. I
Great,
reached out to Green Bank already. I've spoken
Great.
with them.
great. And
I
you have
can-
the motion to guide you. And if anybody else comes up with other consultant firms for this, then,
Well,
you
this
you
is
could do
something
the same.
maybe the select board can do, or somebody in the town offices can help, because I mean, I don't know CCM very well. But we're a paid member. And we can plug into their services. And that's how Titan Energy comes to us through CCM, our CCM membership. Maybe there are 5 others.
Right.
I don't know.
So if you follow up with your 2 leads, Peter,
Yes.
could, Chris, could you follow up with CCM to see if there are any other potential
Yeah.
consultancies?
and, okay, so, I mean, we don't want to have competing, well, maybe we do,
Yeah, we do, I think.
at the
Why
same,
not?
at the same meeting.
No.
No,
I think we would have to do them sequentially. So one meeting, the other one come the next meeting, that type of thing.
I'm not worried
Okay.
about that part. I'm just wondering if we could even get proposals to consider. And I'm wondering, how much they are. I wonder, when you do approach, Peter, could you ask them by when we might hear from them?
Yes, okay, absolutely. And I will do that as soon as I'm able to, like tomorrow, if I can get in touch with some of them and see what their schedules are.
Yeah, and if Chris, you
Um,
find there is another firm, let's say you luck out or you luck in, whatever it is, and CCM says, oh, yes, there's another firm that you definitely want to contact. Again, the same thing. You could either delegate it to one of us to contact it, Chris, or you could contact them with a motion and just ask when we might hear back from them with a proposal.
I'm
I
not
mean, we
sure
might
if,
find out that it's so much money to get a consultant that it's not worth it, but we don't know that yet.
well, I think they would offer, CCM especially would offer to come to give us a presentation.
they
Or
did
just
say that.
throw some
Titan
ideas
Energy
around at
did
us.
say they would come. The guy who I spoke with, who is their VP of, I don't know, municipal activities, or I'm not exactly certain what his title was, Adam Teff. He lives in Avon, which is an hour away. So
Yeah.
he's not on the other side of the state. He said he'd more than happy to come over and give us a presentation.
Greg,
I just wanted to clarify as I think about this. Oh, uh-oh.
you're still here.
Yep.
Okay. Ooh. I don't know. I hit a button and now everybody's gone, but it sounds like you can hear me. Thank God.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I don't know where you are, but that's okay. We'll go with it. I'm not gonna touch anything. When I made the motion about the town farm, obviously that's just a motion to recommend it to the Board of Selectmen. We obviously in this committee do not have that.
Not binding. That's correct.
But it is also helpful in instructing any consultant, if we do hire one, that, don't look at that other plot of land.
Correct. Yeah.
Ah, okay, so a couple things then arise here. If these consultants come out, one of the things they will want to know is what is our energy use? So how much energy we use, so we should probably get that determined. Okay, we kind of know what the school is using, okay, because they have a budget that they're putting out. It's like between 20 and 25 grand for the year. Okay, so that's your electrical costs. And we should know what the municipal is.
And we
And then
don't,
further,
Peter, I can
And
get you
then-
that, I can get you that folder that Melissa was referencing earlier.
Yeah.
And it has all the power bills. I don't know if Melissa,
know
did
if
you
we need to
notice
go
when
through every
when the
bill.
latest was? Probably,
Yeah.
I
I'm
just,
sorry,
I
what?
just, we may be putting the cart before the horse. I might be wrong, but just for them to give us a proposal to consult with us shouldn't require all that information.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Amy.
By the
we may be
way,
asking for-
CCM, when they offer these services, they say that they do it through Titan. By the way,
Okay,
Okay.
I'm just looking at their website.
okay. So,
Okay, so the services, what services are you referring to? Specifically, solar generation of electricity for municipalities?
Yes, it says they have lots of different services, and the one I'm looking at is renewable energy procurement. CCM is pleased to announce a new service, renewable energy procurement offered through Titan. And this is that whole process of evaluating and assessing and providing that guidance.
Okay,
They have other services, but this is the one we're interested in.
yes, of course.
And we still should look at any others, you never know.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing that we'll need to line up too, then, okay, if we're not putting the cart before the horse, might as well at least determine what carts we're gonna have to look at. One of them is an inventory of municipal land, huh?
Yeah, well, let's
Yeah,
wait and
yeah.
see what consultants ask of us. I think the motion is,
That's what they'll ask, because they've already asked that of me.
oh, okay.
We'll have that list pretty close, Peter. Chris has it. I know I definitely have a pretty good handle on town property.
okay, so, you reach out, Peter, to whomever, and I'll get in touch with, CCM and Titan.
Yep.
And, let's see if we
Well,
can
I
set
was
up a
gonna reach
meeting.
out to Titan, right?
Oh, okay, then you can do that.
Yeah,
He's reaching out to
what we were looking
Titan and
for
Green
is,
Bank.
yeah, I was gonna reach out to Titan and Green Bank. And I guess you, Chris, you were going to determine whether CCM might provide other consultants.
Any other consulting, yeah. Okay, I think the reason I said that was what Emily, or what, Amy just referenced from their website.
Well,
was
that might mean that's it. Titan's the only game in town through
Could be.
CCM.
Could be. They may have a specialist, there. I'll call them, and find out
Yeah.
anyways.
That'd be great.
Do we, any other, I guess we need to set up a meeting and then the
Next meeting, yeah.
Aren't we
uh,
every 2 weeks or no?
we can be every 2 weeks, or do we want to wait until maybe we establish contact and set up something for someone to come out and actually see us?
Well,
Right.
my thought is this, if we define 2 weeks out, if that's good for everybody, let's at least tentatively schedule that, and I'll try to fit at least one of them into it.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks out from there, the next one into it.
So that would put us out to April 10th. Is that correct?
That is
that-
correct. That
Yeah.
won't
Okay.
work. Well, it may work for me. Yeah, we have a P&Z regulation workshop. That's not till 6:30, so I guess that could work.
Good.
And rec commissions at
And you have
7.
a rec commission meeting the same day, right?
Yeah.
Emily?
Yes.
Do we want to try, if we're getting somebody to come to make a presentation, should we try and make it more appealing for them?
It would be more appealing for me to not have 2 meetings. I don't know how Emily feels, but
Okay.
Melissa, but I feel that way.
Do we want to look at a different day then?
You want to go 3 weeks out to the 17th? If people okay with
17th
that?
might be better. There's nothing identified right now on the 17th. Does that sound good?
Sounds
think-
great.
Mhm.
So we're talking Wednesday, April 17th at 5 PM, huh?
Sure. Sounds good.
Great. Thank you.
Would
Uh,
that be in person or Zoom?
That'll be in person.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try to, I did have a note went out to Chris that, we're doing this meeting on Zoom because
Early voting.
because of early voting, but 3 people are going to be early voting. We can find a room, I think, anywhere, can't we?
I hope
Let's
so.
try to keep these things in person if we can. That's my thought.
I can't see, I can't see, I can only see your head there,
Yeah.
so I don't know how big that room is, but,
Yeah, well, it's just that I've done too many in corporate world, too many Zoom meetings, and personal meetings are much.
yeah,
more
yeah, sure, okay. Anything else? So,
Motion to adjourn at
Second.
6:11.
interesting.
I'll second that.
Second,
all in
third,
favor?
vote,
Aye.
yes, okay.
Okay,
Thank you all.
have a
Thanks,
good night.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you, everyone.
everybody. Bye.